number that you can use for details of the remaining 8 dates in the UK. So if you need to get a pen and something to write on, now's a good time to do it. So how much, and is this possible for you to measure, Ron, how much do you think it was aided by the fact that you were working with your parents to make this transition? Could it have happened with someone who wasn't necessarily that close to you?
That is a spectacular question. I don't actually think I've been asked that before, but it's a brilliant question because number one, I think the principles that we teach as part of the Sunrise program, what we teach at the Autism Treatment Center of America, I think they are anyone can use them and really help a child improve dramatically. However, and this is a big however, now, we have really seen over and over again that there is nothing to replace the power of the parent to affect change in their child. We really see parents as the number one resource for their own children. Nobody has the kind of lifelong commitment that parents have, the love, and even the day-to-day knowledge of their own children that parents have. And I think that the fact that my parents worked with me in the way that they did and that they were my parents absolutely, without question, made a difference. And that is why when we work with other parents from around the UK and around the US, one of the first things we do is we focus on helping parents to help their children, really helping them to be the pivotal point and the director almost of their programs. And we find that can affect just an incredible amount of change in each particular child.
Tell me, this is just a personal feeling, but because I'm trying to understand, what it must be like to be in that world and then coming out of it and making that transition, is a word I've used before in our conversation this morning. How important would it be to you to know that you have your parents' permission not to make that little step forward today? And so, in other words, you can rest comfortable and make movements forward, or just stay where you are in that program, and you can only do that because your parents can look at you and know that you've done your best today.
Gosh, Mike, honestly, that is another, I'm not just saying that is another really important and excellent question because of this. That is one of the most overlooked areas of autism treatment, which is this idea everyone's focusing on the things to do to make these children be different. But one of the things that is overlooked is the specific attitude of the parents toward their children. And one of the things we spend a lot of time, we have a program called the Sunrise Program Startup, for instance, and I also talk about this in my lecture. But what we spend a lot of time doing is not just teaching parents techniques to help their children, which we do, but also we spend quite a lot of time working on parents' own attitudes so that they can get to a place where they're totally at peace with where their child is right now, before there's any change, where we can all really see our children as a blessing and not a curse, as a gift and not a tragedy. And really, that means being totally okay and totally embracing of our children before they change. And even if they don't change on a given day, or they don't master a particular skill or anything like that. And we find that there's a lot of practical benefit to that. It's not just a fuzzy pie-in-the-sky idea. What we find is that when these children are worked with by a facilitator or a parent who really accepts them where they are while still helping them to grow and change, that these children become much more interactive. They have an easier time connecting with people, because when they're working with someone who's uncomfortable, they don't understand why the person's pushing them or why they're uncomfortable. All they know is somebody's pushing me, and they tend to retreat farther into their world. So we find that this is a key aspect of opening the doorway to reaching our children.
These seminars, free seminars you're offering across the UK, I mean, it's working on a breakthrough treatment. Do you have any thoughts as to whether this will be able to spread across the rest of Europe? I mean, are you able to offer treatment courses in Canada, for example?
Right now we don't have treatment courses in Canada. In fact, the UK is one of the most explosive countries in the sense that we're working in. We have a lot of interest in doing it. We already have a few thousand families in the UK who are doing this already and really seeing a remarkable amount of change and growth in their children. But to answer your question more specifically also, these lectures that I'm doing, you're correct, they are free lectures, and they're designed to really give parents a mixture of hope and inspiration, but also some very concrete strategies they can use immediately to help their children. And one of the reasons why we really are very optimistic about how parents will have the opportunity to utilize this in the UK is that we're flying a team of our teachers up to the same teachers that teach that Sunrise program, startup program that we run on our campus. It's a week-long program. We're flying our teachers up to London in January, and we're offering the same program in London. And the other amazing thing about that is the Caldwell charity that's run by John Caldwell of Phones for You. He's an incredible man, and the charity is incredibly generous, and they really want to support UK families to do this specific program. So they are actually funding literally hundreds of families from around the UK to be able to come to that program in London and to fund the vast majority of their tuition. So most parents will be able to come to this lecture for free, and then if they want to, go deeper and take this program in London and have most of their tuition covered as well.
I'm talking to Ron Kaufman, who successfully made the transition from being autistic to what you can hear now, an inspirational speaker. As I mentioned earlier on, Sigourney Weaver in the movie Snowflake plays an autistic person. You might recall the Rain Man movie with Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. That raised media interest. Some of the stats you might not have heard me mention. This once rare disorder now affects 1 in 100 children, and it's estimated that over 500,000 people have autism in the UK. If you'd like to find out more about autism treatment, here's the website, www.autism, AUTISM, treatment, one word, .com, autismtreatment.com. Or you can call 001 413 229 2100, 001 413 229 2100. Ron, I was going to ask you, this is a bit complicated and you might think I'm a bit weird for asking, but if it's a son, okay, a male child, that has a problem with autism, does it make better progress working with the mother, in as much as the daughter might make better progress working with the father?
I don't think that's a weird question at all. What I would say, my short answer is no, only in that, first of all, as you may or may not be familiar, 80% of children with autism are actually boys. So it affects 5 times as many boys as it does girls. But what we haven't seen any sort of situation where either one gender makes more progress overall than the other, or where one parent is more effective with a boy or a girl, etc. We find that it's not so much the gender of the parent. What's more important is that they are the parent. And again, we don't expect parents to do all of the work, but we just expect them to be the centerpiece and to really be the focus of the program and help direct the program. We then teach parents, for instance, in our programs, how to recruit a team of volunteers. I just spoke to a mother today who actually has 12 volunteers who are helping her with her son, Oscar, and what that does is it gives children a chance to interact with a variety of people, but it also takes a lot of the brunt off parents so that they can be the leaders, but they're not doing every piece of it. And what's great is that also means that everyone's on the same page. That's something that's very important when you're doing a program like this. Consistency, so that everyone's implementing these principles together versus people doing different principles at different times. Now, for instance, one of the things we do that is honestly a more controversial principle of the program that I discuss in the lecture is there are certain times when a child is doing these repetitive behaviors when actually the best thing to do is not to try and redirect them or stop them, but to literally join in with what they're doing. Not just for a few minutes, but over a long time. And that is the time when you can really open the doorway and these children start to look at you more, etc. For instance, if a child's lining up blocks, we might line up blocks with the child. And that's when we start to forge this connection. Now, if only 2 people are doing that, but 5 others are doing something completely different, it's not as effective as having a consistency where everyone is doing that so that you can really forge a bond with the child that can work as a platform for all education and growth.
That's terrific. It's inspirational. You know, I can just hear the positive energy in your voice. No wonder you have such tremendous success. A round of applause to you, Ron Kaufman. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Well, I will say it's something I'm really excited about. If you had asked me, I'd be honest with you, if you had asked me 15 years ago, do you think you'll be doing this with your life, I would have said, hey, man, you know, I'm glad my parents did this. I'm very grateful, but it's not for me. I want to do something different with my own life. And I did. When I first graduated university, I didn't do this. But what I then realized how amazing it was what my parents had done with me, and I started to meet all of these families who were doing the Sunrise program and coming to the Autism Treatment Center of America and just having this just incredible success with their own children and able to really also change their own emotional experience of what this diagnosis feels like in their family and have their families work better. And it was really hard for me to see that and not want to be a part of it and not want to contribute to that. So now it's definitely come full circle. I'm the director of the very center that began with me, and then we are now really trying to spread this out so that as many parents can be exposed to this and at least have options available to them as possible. I think one of the big problems with this is that parents are not told their options when they're given a diagnosis. They're either told there are no options or they're given one option versus given all of the options available to them.
Ron, I want to thank you very much for being with us. If you'd like those details again, let me repeat them for you now. www.autismtreatment.com, www.autismtreatment.com. Autism, as you know, is AUTISM, all lowercase. Or you can call 001-413-229-2100. What a great guy. Ron Kaufman, thank you once again. I'm Mike Allen. This is talkSPORT. It's 22 minutes after 4 o'clock. I'm Mike Allen. You're listening to talkSPORT. Thanks once again for the emails that continue to come in. We're asking for your nominations for top bands to include in the UK Hall of Fame. Jim the Trucker got in touch. He said, best band for the Hall of Fame has got to be Status Quo. Mike, says Bob in Warrington, my favourite all-time duo is Simon and Garfunkel, the most successful duo ever. Yeah, they made Bonnie and Clyde look slack, didn't they? And Robert Young got in touch with the programme again. He said, still got toothache. I don't have any clove oil or whiskey, and I'm not using pliers, but the bread might help a little, thanks. Okay, you're most welcome. A couple of things we could be talking about. At the moment, we're talking about financial issues and also working in Poland. Yeah, well, Gary's got some thoughts on that, and we're going to talk to Gary in just a moment. But I thought you might be interested in a couple of new subjects to talk about. And very quickly, they are these. It's now possible to rent very expensive handbags. It's now possible to rent very expensive clothes. And I thought, one of the big burdens, if you've got a big wedding that you're going to, let's assume, and you want to appear quite gorgeous and lovely, as naturally you would, doesn't it make more sense to rent it? Because the next time you're going to wear it is probably be out of fashion, or it'll be in the wrong season. And the same goes for guys. Wouldn't you be better renting that very snappy black Italian wool suit or something than buying it? Well, I think it's got legs as an idea, actually, and I think we should talk about it. So if you've got a minute, it's 08704 20 20 20. 08704 20 20 20. Or you can text on 81089. Another thing which I thought is absolutely radical, this is going to affect all of us, sooner or later. Most of Britain's motorists would reject the chance to cut their car cover premiums if it meant allowing insurers to use a spy-in-the-car black box to track their movements. This week, insurer Norwich Union has announced it's to roll out a scheme originally introduced as a limited pilot in which customers' motor premiums are set in accordance with how much a vehicle is used and at what time of day, as measured by a special onboard computer. But a new study by price comparison service MoneySupermarket.com has found that consumers' fears over the invasion of privacy by such a device would lead most of them to reject such an idea. Only 1 in 10 drivers, including the low users, would stand to gain the most, would accept a black box, even if it guaranteed savings of 30%. This is the future. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have black boxes in our cars, and they won't have to have speed cameras as we know them. They'll just measure you, go through a continuous electronic surveillance avenue. It's got to happen. It's going to happen. Would you say yes if faced with this as an option? Or would you say no? Take your technology away, sit on it, or put it whatever. What would you do? Exactly. Give me a call. 08704 20 20 20. Hello, Gary, live from Bolton. Welcome to talkSPORT.
Hi, Mike.
Hiya.
If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, pretty much. You got a cool voice, man. First of all, I'd like to say, the first time I've ever called you or talked to you, but you sound pretty chilled out, you sound pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
I like the way you deal with people. That's pretty good. The way you, anyways, enough of that.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. Thank you.
It is respect, man. Respect. Everyone in this country is always going on about the great Polish invasion and that. Oh, the foreigners are going to come and get us. The foreigners are going to take our jobs and stuff like that. You know. Well, I'm one of them people who most of your listeners are probably going to hate me because I'm on the door. I'm proud of it. I'll tell you why I'm proud of it. Because I used to have a job. I was a minimum wage. Okay?
Yeah.
I had a flat. Well, I'll start again. First of all, I didn't have a job. I got a flat. I like English. I'm not Polish. I was born in this country. Bloody boy. I got my housing benefits paid for. Okay, that's as far as that went. And I got 40 quid a week, something like that. I went out. That gave me enough time to sort my flat out and stuff. Got it all nice. Got it looking okay. Went out, got a job. And then I couldn't afford, once I got the job, I couldn't afford to pay the rent. Because the rent was too high. So, really, it benefits if you're not doing anything. Like, it's actually easier to not have a job. It pays not to have a job and do nothing all day and get yourself cable, NTL and all that stuff and let everyone else pay for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd have to be a complete idiot now to get a job at minimum wage. The place where I'm staying, Mike, the place where I live right now, housing benefit pay for. If I got a job tomorrow, everyone says, oh, you know, you've got to get a job because it's about pride and all that. I could go out sweeping streets and stuff like that. But I could go out and sweep streets, but then I won't be able to afford the place I'm staying, you know? It's catch-22. Now, what kind of a guy would live on the street? It's catch-22, Mike. Do you know what I mean?
I understand exactly what you're saying. And I had conversations with sons of friends of mine in a similar situation. They're better off not to work. As soon as they start to work, the whole system starts to fall around them. Thanks for that, Gary. We're going to speak to Elsie in just a minute, and also Pauline, and also to Len. You're listening to talkSPORT. I'm Mike Allen. A little message on email from Mick said, Mike, the deep oil that's been found under non-porous rock, also tar compounds have been found in Saturn's rings. Oil may have a mineral, not organic origin, and there may be a lot more than previously thought. It's the thing that keeps us going, Mick, isn't it? We're all going to find the secret of great success. Who's got their fingers locked? In just a minute, we're talking to Len in Cardiff about Michael Schumacher. I'm Mike Allen. This is talkSPORT, and we'll take that break, I think, John. Thank you.
On 1089 and 1053 AM and DAB Digital Radio, talkSPORT.
Right. Interesting piece in the Guardian today. The mayor of Caracas, Hugo Chavez, decided that London should serve as a model for services and government in Caracas, which is not immediately apparent. He came in May and he visited City Hall, and the result of this, to cut a long story short, is that it's likely to be an extraordinary deal struck with London Mayor Ken Livingstone that would see Caracas benefiting from the capital's expertise in policing, tourism, transport, housing and waste disposal. London, meanwhile, would gain the most obvious asset the Venezuelans have to give, cheap oil. Possibly 1 million barrels of the stuff. What about that? We're back to trading again. Len's in Cardiff. Going to mean lock you up, Len. I'll get you. There you are. It's not locking up. That's it. Gotcha. Len, welcome. You're on talkSPORT.
Hello there, my friend. Good morning to you. This is a pleasure. First time I've had the pleasure of speaking to you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for listening.
And you've got a cracking voice. I love it. I'm supposed to be getting up early in the morning, but I can't go to sleep because I'm listening to your broadcast and I can't put the speakers down. Anyhow, I was ringing up. First of all, I'd like to nominate Mantovani for...
Mantovani?
The band, yeah. That's beautiful music. And... Michael Schumacher, he said he was retiring. Well, if you had a castle like he's got, you'd want to retire too. An Austrian friend pointed it out to me. He's got this beautiful castle on a hillside near Innsbruck, and it's all painted white. I saw it from about half a mile away. And it's a square in shape, I think, with a tower on each corner. It's the most beautiful place. I'd love to visit it. If he's listening and he would care to invite me, I'd fly there.
and I'll carry a case.
Yeah, you'd love it.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well, the reason I asked the question is that when you mention his name and you talk to motor racing people, they either love him or they don't.
Well, I've never met the bloke, and I'm not keen on motor racing.
No?
The damn engine starts, the car is gone, and that's the end of it until it comes around again. So it doesn't mean much to me, I'm afraid.
Tell me, I know this isn't why you called up, but one of the subjects we've got on offer to talk about this hour is hiring clothes, hiring handbags, or the male equivalent, rather than investing a great deal of money in something that you probably won't wear for another 6 months or maybe for another year.
Well, I would never hire anything like that because I got an aversion to wearing other people's clothes, and I turned down loads of work as an extra with the BBC.
Have you?
Yes, because I won't wear anybody else's clothes.
Wow.
And I won't use the wardrobe.
Oh, that really narrows down the work, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'd like you, if you would, my friend, to take a look at my website. I've got a non-profit making website. And I've had special permission from the Queen to include images on there of work I've done for the royal family. And I've done something that I doubt if I haven't found another person in the whole world would do. I turned down the chance of having a piece of my work mass-produced and exported to America, which could have made me a millionaire, maybe a multi-millionaire, in order to support the Prince of Wales. It's all on my site. And if I give you the address, would you like to take a look?
I'm waiting for it now.
www.
Yeah.
Leonard, and that's Leonard, -cares, CARES, .co.nr.
Co.nr.
Yes. And if you type that in...
Is there a dot after co?
Yes, co.nr.
Okay.
And I think you'll be very surprised because the old essence of the site is to try and help people down on their luck who through no fault of their own have lost out on life, and to take them from anonymity to celebrity status using nothing more than knowledge they already possess.
Oh, that sounds intriguing. I'll have a look at that when we come off the air about 6 o'clock.
Okay, my friend.
All right.
Well, it's been a joy speaking to you, and once again, I love your voice.
Thank you, Len. You're a charming man. Thank you.
Okay, my friend.
Bye-bye. Right. talkSPORT on 10:53, 10:89 a.m. At 6 o'clock this morning, Alan Brazil's Sports Breakfast, with not only Alan Brazil, but also Graham Beecroft, right the way through until 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, it's John Gaunt, sharing his slant and take on the day's news and breaking stories. That's all here, and it will happen this morning. Howard's in Barnsley, and he called in, he suggests that the Alex Harvey Band were the best act ever. The Alex Harvey Band, they are so loyal, the fans for Alex Harvey. I've got that in the pile. Thank you very much. Nominations I was looking for, and we'll take some more from you as to who you would want to see in the museum of the UK's best bands. Yeah. So it's talksport.net, or text me on 81089, or you can call 08704 20 20 20. Elsie's in Croxley Green. Ring the bell for me, Croxley Green. Hello, Elsie.
Hello, Mike. Lovely to hear your voice. I adore it as well. I was going to have a chat with you about rent. You were talking about renting handbags for posh occasions, etc.
That's right, just renting clothes for a special occasion, because perhaps I shouldn't say this, but I've noticed that women more so than men, they will say to their partner, "Oh, we're going over to see, I don't know, Charlie Farley or whatever," and she said, I can't, because I haven't got anything to wear. He said, "But what about that dress?" She said, "No, I wore it last time."
Interesting. Well, I would like to put on a different slant to than renting. I have a charity shop, squirrel, if you like.
Yeah.
I've my financial situation has changed, but it hasn't really. My attitude to life has never changed. I used to be in jumble sales once upon a time for all the children's clothes, and that was 40 years ago. And I'm still doing it now, but my financial situation has changed now, and I'm almost reaching retirement age. Well, actually, I've passed it, but I'm still working.
Sure.
I go through charity shops. I've had this summer 3 beautiful leather handbags, fantastic leather handbags, which cost me a total of £12. I have more handbags than probably most women, because I have a handbag for everything I do in life. And these have been added to my collection and already used. In the past, I have rented clothes for weddings. Not rented exactly. I did have to rent a hat once upon a time, because they are very, very expensive and often only worn for one wedding.
Oh, for sure. No, you go to...
If it's your family son, one of your sons getting married, you know?
Oh, yes.
So you're never going to wear that hat again, probably, and I think then it's worth renting a hat. But... you know, if you're one of the guests at a wedding, by all means, go to the charity shops. They're fantastic outfits, really are. I mean, I've been every size under the sun in clothes. That's why I've had to go up and down
oh, I see.
in buying different sizes, etc., and trying to cater for my wardrobe. But since they've discovered I'm sugar intolerant, you know, and I've had to give up the sugar completely, I'm quite, you know, a respectable size now. But the things that I've actually got from charity shops, for instance, my youngest son had to conduct an enormous choir, an enormous orchestra at a very, very big occasion. And where did I get the dinner jacket that he needed? Because the other one that I got when he was at uni was too big. He needed something that didn't fall off his shoulders too much when he was conducting. From a charity shop, I went into the charity shop. Beautiful charity shop. They only had one. Oh, we didn't think we'd sell that here. We thought we'd send it to London. So charity shops don't just necessarily sell in where they're handed in. So, you know, when people hand things into charity shops, you can almost guarantee they'll get into the right hands. And if you're a squirrel like I am, a Wirral squirrel to go with it, you know, you just can go